Green energy cost dilemma. Renewable can lead to higher light bills, expert says. March 18, 2022. Gleaner. In the long run, the addition of clean energy to power grid is supposed to make electricity more affordable for consumers, but setting up renewable plants to reduce the dependency on oil will likely have the opposite effect in the medium term in the form of higher bills, expert says. That's because of the investment outlay required for the switchover. Renewables are cheap to run, but they are very expensive upfront, and the question is, how are you going to finance the transition? Said Renald Lindo, sustainable energy expert at the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, at a webinar hosted by the Office of Utility Regulation, or OUR, on Wednesday. So if you are asking for people to pay more for electricity, that is a losing argument, he said. Lindo and other panelists discussing the topic, energy market jitters and electricity demand trends, said over the long term, more renewables will enter the mix, but that there is a longer recovery timeline for these investments than before the pandemic due to reduced energy demand across Jamaica. This, in turn, can fuel a chain reaction that leads to higher prices to recover the cost of investment. We have to be careful about solar and what it can do to the grid. We cannot just look at renewable resources because they require a lot of other investments that need to be taken into account, said power generation system consultant Valentine Fagan. Oil once dominated the fuel mix for the electricity generated for the national grid. Today, liquefied natural gas, or LNG, accounts for 59% of the country's energy mix, diesel fuel 28%, and renewables 13%, said Fagan. 7 years ago, diesel accounted for 95% of the mix and renewables 5%. It's not about putting up solar plants and then we get rid of the problem. It is not that straightforward, Fagan said. Oil and LNG gas prices are both up since the start of the year, exacerbated by the war launched by Russia against Ukraine. Over the 12-month timeline, oil has climbed by 50% to roughly $100 per barrel, but over the same period, LNG pumped LNG jumped 85% to $4.75 per 1,000 cubic feet. Historically, LNG prices are more stable, but supply instability has affected its pricing. Fagan said that despite the instability in energy commodity market, Jamaica still benefited from fuel diversification. Over time, as energy demand increases, we will find that LNG becomes more competitive, although it is still competitive at this time, he said. Since the onset of the pandemic, electricity consumption has fallen significantly and require growth of 6% this year to return to 2019 levels, said Cedric Wilson, Deputy Director General of the OUR. In a breakdown of the billing category, he said small commercial consumption requires an 11.3% increase to return to 2019 levels, and large commercials and industrial 8%. Residential consumers was the only category to grow during the pandemic and is now 2.1% above 2019 levels, which Wilson attributed to work from home programs and homeschooling during the pandemic. The OUR initially expected overall recovery in electricity demand in 2023, but the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the related energy instability could push that to 2014, Wilson said. The reduced consumption holds implications for Power Utility Jamaica Public Service Company, which operates under a revenue cap, said Wilson. If it falls low, there is the potential for overgeneration, and you might have assets that are being underutilized, he said. If volumes are lower than expected, then electricity prices are likely to rise the following year, the OUR official noted. This, in turn, could make renewables more attractive for large corporations to set up their own power plants and exit the national grid. Their departure would also lower demand on the grid, which will affect the cost of electricity for consumers served by JPS. If the utility doesn't get its revenue in one year, then the following year prices will go up to ensure that the balance that was unrecovered the previous year will be recovered the following year. So, when you have low volumes, as in the cases of COVID-19, what you find is that prices go up and it can turn others to migrate from the grid. So, you find more solar private plants and more people buying natural gas to deal with energy needs. As a result of that, you find a gap between what should be recovered from the utility and what they actually recover, which in turn sends prices up. And the higher prices lead to more migration, and then again, it sends prices up again and can lead to a spiral, he said. The webinar panel also concluded that Jamaica needs to revisit the expected demand for electricity over the long term and balance that with the level of investment required.